Welcome to Sex Sisters in the City. Grab your Manolos and martinis from the dirty South to NYC. Carrie, Miranda, Charlotte, Samantha, we feel like we know you. Big and Stanford and all the other sub-characters, we'll talk about them sometimes too.
Welcome.
We need to stop saying that because it really is. It's just Dak Shepard.
We're taking Dak Shepard's thing. Morgan just hot off the presses busted me for not doing Sober January.
I didn't. It's not that I didn't tell him that you were drinking yesterday. I just said you were going to drink tonight
Yeah, well,
because I said that I was too. Well, because Dad was trying to judge me because I was like, yeah, I'm having a glass of wine and celebrating. And he goes, oh, so you're not like your sister. You're not doing dry January like your big sister. And I'm like, she's not doing fucking dry January either.
no, he sent me something. He mentioned on the phone yesterday, like, I just love that you do this. And I was like, yeah. And then he sent me like a link to like longer life for like taking a month off. And he was like, you're adding years to your life. I was like, yep. It's just, I didn't have the heart to tell him.
Oh, I didn't know it was like that serious.
Cheat days.
I didn't know, like he was like so proud.
I know. He's like, was really proud of me.
Oh no. Sorry.
What are you going to do?
What are you gonna do?
So we're here to talk about The Drought.
Yes, episode 11. Welcome.
I didn't like it very much.
I thought there was like they kind of jumped around a lot in this episode.
I thought so too. I was just kind of,
A lot of themes, a lot of different kind of side plots going on.
Yeah, and like some of them were just almost like stupid to me. Like I was just like, okay, so Samantha's deciding not to have sex because she's seeing a yogi guy.
May have been a throwaway episode.
It felt like it. And I think that they just had to find a way to make sure all of the women weren't having sex in this episode.
Yeah,
like that's the
it's
thing.
the drought.
The drought.
Yeah.
So they all kind of have different reasons why they're not having sex.
Yeah.
And, Carrie's hilarious. Carrie's storyline in this episode is
Really
hilarious.
funny.
It makes-
That's the one that kind of keeps it all together. There's
think
like a
so.
reason to keep watching it. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
So we start with Carrie and Big eating ice cream in bed and then eating ice cream
Ice cream swap.
out of each other's mouths.
Ice cream swap gate
Ice cream
is what
swapping.
we're calling it. I yelled.
Yeah.
No.
It was so gross
Couldn't.
because that was
Slow-mo.
Slow-mo. You're watching it now. And I'm zooming in. Look at it.
We had to look at it.
We had to
no,
watch
you
it.
look at it.
It was so nasty. And like they had to do that. Like the actors had to eat ice cream out of each other's mouths.
So I immediately, because this is where my mind goes to, I'm like, that was too intimate.
Yeah.
So I immediately Googled Carrie Big relationship in real life.
Yeah. Like, did they?
I was like, that just looks like too, I don't know. Like, is that scripted? Did they just do that? It's too much.
It was a lot.
And no, there's no kind of like trail about, I at least I looked for like 2 seconds, but like I couldn't find anything really about it.
He actually dated Charlotte in real life. I read.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I did read
But-
something about that.
Yeah. I think she was with her husband, Matthew Broderick, at the time of when
Yeah.
she like nasty, man.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Ice cream swap is wild.
Ice cream swap is wild. That leads me to my next question. Foodplay. Ever done it?
No.
Never anything with food.
Food kind of grosses me out.
I completely agree. I
Even
think it's
like-
disgusting.
Even like a whipped cream.
Yeah.
Even that. Like I don't even think I think it's sticky. I think
Yeah.
it's
so I
I don't
feel
like it.
I feel like it's something that like is more often on TV than ever really in practice.
Yes.
And when I was in high school and I had just started having sex for the first time with my boyfriend, you're just
you
like
think that's what you're
think
supposed
that's
to
what
do.
you're supposed to do. So I remember like one time it was like my parents weren't home and I like busted the whipped cream out. And he's down there, and I look down, and he just looks up, and
No.
he's got all his whipped cream all over his face. And you know it melts like very quickly. Like it's not like nice and whipped. And I just remember we were both like, this is disgusting. Like we were both like, no. Like this is gross.
No.
Like it was like an immediate, we both hated it so much. Like
Not to kink shame. It's just not for me.
I don't think it's for many people.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anyone.
I don't like sticky.
No.
I don't want to.
It's gross.
Yeah.
Like it's no.
No.
It's really
So that was like, ugh. I really screamed. I did not like it. It was gross.
No, I don't like even
I don't even like watching kissing to begin with. I don't like
Yeah.
watching people kiss. I don't like, especially if there's tongue involved. I'll look away from the screen. I'd rather watch full on anal sex than watch someone make out. Like I can't do it. Spit is gross.
No, like when you watch like The Bachelor, especially,
Yeah.
and I've been into like The Golden Bachelor, and
Yeah.
watching them kiss is like
Terrible.
it's nasty.
Terrible.
Nasty.
People shouldn't kiss.
Me off. Don't kiss.
Pissing me off.
So then Carrie farts.
Oh yeah.
It was nice. It was the way I'd always dreamed it could be.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is that you?
At first, I thought it was him. Actually, I forgot that it was her.
Yeah.
And then she goes,
Carrie rips ass.
just like it's like a cute little like.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think that's the cardinal sin. You can't really come back from that.
So I'm curious about where you stand on all this. I think I know.
Girls don't do that.
Yeah.
So,
So you never do.
no, I think I was like raised with a mother who literally
Me too.
never, comes
Yeah.
the same way. Who literally, we have different moms. If
Different
that,
mom. For anyone who's
didn't make any
confused,
sense.
same dad, different mom.
Who never, you would have never even thought that could happen.
No.
Like if that happened, it would have been like the craziest thing of
That,
crazy
like,
things.
wouldn't happen.
Yeah, and so like I thought she just never used the bathroom. I was just like, oh, she doesn't do that.
yeah.
So I think I did get some of that like very
There's, like
very
shame around it.
well, just like very big boundary. Like
Yeah.
that is like not to be crossed.
Maybe modesty about it is probably a better.
Yeah,
word.
I can't. And that's because of my own trauma.
Yeah.
From the own shame that I carry with me.
So my mom and my stepdad have now been together for what? Probably 25 to 30 years. And no, yeah, like 25 years. And he still like can attest he's never like living together for 25 years, sharing hotel rooms together, like has no concept of her farting or pooping or any of that. Neither do I from my
crazy.
mom. Meanwhile, all the men in our family fart freely,
Constantly.
without abandon.
And most of the time are trying to when we're in the room,
Yeah,
just because
like,
they want a reaction
as
out of
loud
us.
as it can
Yeah.
be, as stinky as it can be. I'll admit, so at the place I am in my relationship, we pee in front of each other all the time.
Well, yeah.
We don't poop in front of each other. Greg really could care less if I see him, but I like to draw that boundary of
Yeah.
like, all right, I don't want to
somehow keep the romance alive.
Yeah. He has no problem farting in front of me at all.
Yeah. And I think that's just it's
That's
a
just
guy thing.
men. And
Yeah.
then I'm more of just like, thank God I have a dog, Thank
Yeah,
God
you can blame
we have a big stinky pit
big
bull,
stinky dog.
and unfortunately, Greg's like, that was not a Todd smell. I'm like, yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. You can't prove anything.
Todd.
Yeah. No, yeah, and without a dog, I mean, you just kind of have to leave the room.
Yeah.
Like,
is that what you do?
I'll get up to go to the bathroom, or I will just leave. I will not risk. I'm like Carrie. I would be absolutely mortified. But I feel like there is a point in the relationship. It's maybe like the 6-month mark or maybe even the year mark where the guy always does.
Mhm.
And then there's like a silly, oh, stop, gross. So they're like, hit him with a pillow. And then from that point on, they do it constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Then after the shell's been broken,
Mhm.
after that, like it's done. It's like they just do it.
It's every morning for us.
Yeah.
It's all like I'm just like, are you kidding? Like
In the
there's
morning?
yeah, like
Yeah.
it's just from his side of the bed, and that often it wakes me up, and I'm like, are you kidding with that? Like, how is it always like?
In the morning.
It's just always. It's all the time, really, with him. But
Yeah.
it's God.
Yeah, and I feel like once the floodgates are open, so to speak.
And you haven't. This is what you've done with every relationship you've
Yeah.
been in. I would say with Greg, it's the most comfortable I've ever been with someone, and thank God we have a dog. Yeah, like I said.
Yeah. I think there's been, I don't know, maybe like an accident, like a Carrie kind of situation, and the guy like didn't say, like he was too embarrassed for me.
and that's
or
what we're
polite.
supposed to do.
But I think that he handled it okay. Like I don't think that he laughed with her because it was very obvious. You can't just like not, you can't
Yeah.
pretend like that didn't happen. She like covered her face and like he like was laughing.
Yeah.
And like what else are you supposed to do? Like,
Well, and yeah, exactly. The times that Greg knows that I did something, he's just like gives me shit about it. So
yeah.
we're, like-
And I also think that it comes with just like probably age too, and
Yeah.
just like being like more mature, like older. You're just like you don't get as embarrassed about those kinds of things.
Yeah.
At least for men, they're just
For-
like they don't care.
Well, it's crazy. Like I remember, like Greg farts in front of my parents now, and
Yeah.
I'm like, who told you that was okay?
Because dad does it in front of him and Cole does the same thing. So he's like, oh, I'm in company here. I don't have to hide.
like I remember his parents are like, they're pretty classy, like South
Oh
African
my
or whatever.
God,
And he's
yeah.
just like farts in front of his parents, and I'm like,
Can't even imagine farting in front of Sheila.
and he just does.
I would be that would be call for never showing my face
Oh,
over there
To
again.
fart in front of your in-law.
In front of Sheila.
Sheila, I would throw up.
That
of
would be
embarrassment. You wouldn't see me again.
you wouldn't
You would not see me again. Yeah. And then if you're in like a hotel, what do you do if you have to go number 2?
Well, there's usually a like a public
You go
like you go to the
downstairs
gym, go
lobby.
downstairs. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Or like I'll be like, you go somewhere else.
Yeah. There's nothing better than like we were just in Africa and you would go have breakfast out in the lobby. And then I would always leave breakfast early, go back to the room so I can have
Yes.
my time
Yeah, yeah,
alone
yeah,
in
yeah.
the room. And I'm like, yeah, I'll just be a couple minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I
the way
think
to do it.
now I'm at this place where I'm like, I'll like say if I need some time. Like
Yeah.
I didn't used to like be able to say it, but now I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
I need a few extra minutes, just like
Or,
stay
like,
out there or
turn on
something.
the shower.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
She looks cute as she leaves. I love her little outfit,
Yeah.
like a black shirt and some just tight pants, like a
Yeah.
nice classic look.
Yeah,
She's just got to get out of there quick.
yeah. She runs.
She said, I'm just going to handle it like an adult. Complete and utter denial. That's really the only way to handle it.
Yeah.
Just pretend like it didn't happen.
Yeah, and then don't speak to him for a few days.
And then it like kept replaying in her head. Like,
Yeah, yeah. The cringe.
yeah. I know that feeling well. Then he does a whoopee cushion on her.
Insane.
That's like, you should have just let sleeping dogs lie, man.
I don't know. I thought it was like at first I was like, what a jerk. But I think
I don't think he did it to be jerky, though.
no.
Yeah.
But I think I would be like upset at first, but I would be like, okay, this is funny, haha, whatever.
You know, whoopee cushions, they need to make a
Bring 'em
comeback.
back.
Bring them back. They're
What aged the best? Whoopee cushions.
whoopee cushions. I don't
Yeah.
see enough whoopee cushions.
Dude, I'm gonna whoopee
anymore.
cushion you so hard.
Tonight? Yeah, I gotta get a whoopee.
We gotta go
cushion.
get. Where do you even get those?
I don't know.
Amazon. Jamie.
Jamie, look it up.
Yep.
Run the numbers.
You can get them on Amazon. Add to cart.
How many whoopee cushions are currently in rotation today? Run the numbers. Run
You get
the numbers. So then she tries to spice things up. And he's like, no, I'm good tonight. I would
do you
read into it.
think you don't think it had anything to do?
I don't think so. I don't think it ever had anything to do with it.
I think it was a coincidence.
I think it was a coincidence too. And I think she was just reading into it too much.
And at the beginning of the episode, it had shown that they were sleeping together a lot. Like she was over
Mhm.
there all the time.
Yeah.
And I just feel like at some point there are just dry spells in relationships, even in situationships,
Yeah.
even in like years long relationships. I feel like there's always those.
Yeah, there's just times where it just feels like there's not enough time for whatever reason, or
Yeah.
then there's times where you're like 3 times in a day, like for no reason. You're
Yeah.
just like, oh yeah, wow, like
Yeah.
we're back.
Yeah.
And I have been guilty of like sometimes taking it personally when like the guy isn't in the mood that night for whatever reason, because we're taught this narrative.
Oh,
that,
I'll
like-
cry.
Yeah. Like we're taught this narrative that like guys
Always
want
want
to.
it. Yeah.
And so then when they don't, you like really read into it. You're
Yeah.
like, well, what's wrong with me? Like,
Yeah.
am I not sexy enough? And especially if something like that had happened recently, you're of course going to read into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that's so true. Like we're told that they'll never say
They
no
don't
to
say no.
sex or
Mhm.
anything. So when they do, you're like, what is wrong with me?
What's wrong with me? And at the end of the day, sometimes it's like my stomach hurts or whatever.
Yeah, or I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Greg, it has a lot to do with like his stress levels,
Yeah.
which totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm like,
For
"Hey?"
sure. Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry. Like I'm
Too much on his mind.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
just like, we'll be really stressed. And then it's like explained immediately when we hit the weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We're fine.
But it's very easy to take it personally.
Yes.
I get it, Carrie.
I
I
get it,
get
Carrie.
you. Oh, we find out Miranda hasn't gotten it in 3 months.
3 months. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. That's a long time.
It's a long time. And she says she's given herself carpal tunnel from these 2.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think Miranda is a little bit exhausting in like
It's also a little
now-
dramatic.
where the season has gone. Every episode is just kind of her complaining.
Yeah.
It's just like kind of always like, okay, just Miranda's upset about something again.
And I think personally it's just a little dramatic.
Mhm.
Like as if you can get yourself off and
Yeah.
like I
I think that not being in a relationship, like I feel like 3 months isn't that
that's what I was
long.
thinking. Yeah.
Like, yes, it is a long time. I'm not saying that's not a long time, but like if you're single, like, and you're busy, she's like a freaking lawyer. Like
yeah.
she has a lot going on. Like I don't know. It just doesn't seem like
If I had a friend who was single and like bitching to me about how it had been 3 months like that often, I'd be like, okay, just go get laid.
Just
I
go
don't know what
out.
to tell you. Like
go to any
it's
bar.
just annoying. Like
Or
yeah.
I guess they don't have dating apps back then, but like literally go
it's
anywhere.
not hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
she says there's 1.3 million single men, and it's like
Well, then we figured out at the end of the episode that it is kind of hard for her.
it is poor
Yeah,
Miranda.
I know.
And then we have Carrie and Samantha at the workout class. Pretty cute.
I put Samantha looks so pretty here.
She looks gorgeous. Like when the camera is like above her, like
She's
looking down at her,
pretty.
she's like so beautiful.
Like no one looks good from that angle except Samantha.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you ever wonder, like, I know that there's obviously a ton of issues with like Kim Cattrall and like Sarah Jessica Parker. Like, do you wonder how the show would be different if like maybe their casting was swapped? Like if Samantha was the
Carrie?
lead? Yeah. I don't know if it would work. She almost like needs to be that beautiful, not as the lead. To like,
I agree.
yeah.
I think that Carrie's overall look just
Mhm.
adds a little bit something
I think so too. 'Cause
different. She's so unique looking. I think
Yeah.
Samantha's just a bombshell. Like Samantha's just a classic, beautiful
yeah.
woman, and Carrie isn't very classically pretty, but she's so beautiful, but just like
Mhm.
more of an interesting look.
Yeah.
I think it works for her character because she's an interesting character.
Yeah, it would be tough to buy like Samantha or Kim Cattrall in that role as like being like the one. Like Carrie's great in this episode, just like she's so relatable. She's flailing, she's like very imperfect, and
Mhm.
there's something about Samantha that yeah, she just has to be that gorgeous in order to pull off like how ridiculous some
Yeah.
of her storylines get. So they're at the yoga class and they don't do any of the moves that everyone else is doing.
No, well, Samantha is, but Carrie's not.
Yeah, Carrie's just straight up.
Carrie's not doing it, and I love it because this is the first time that she's
Yeah.
been at a class and not done any
She
of this.
never does
She's
it.
not into it.
It's so funny, and then she's just like talking about the fart so loud,
So
Like,
loudly,
they're
not
just-
whispering at all. And I love Samantha's reaction. She's like, "Oh, that's terrible. Like
Yeah,
that's the
that's
worst
really
thing
bad.
I've ever heard."
I would believe Samantha's never done that in front
Never.
of a guy. She's way too
She's
prim
too
and proper.
perfect. Yeah, too sexy.
Then she goes, basically she speaks truth to power. Women aren't supposed to do anything except be perfect flowers.
Men don't like women that are human.
Yeah. She said, I once had a guy break up with me because I missed a bikini wax, which is also like believable.
And I think that a lot of these lines are a little bit satirical in the time that they were made in. And I think the writer knew what they were doing. Like, I these are all tropes that we think are ridiculous, but they definitely
They hold true.
They hold true. Yeah. And I think especially now, like with social media and everything being kind of like fake, and for lack of another word, like I feel like even today is harder than any other time to like try to act like you're perfect.
Yeah. Well, and to like live up to these unrealistic
Yeah.
standards that we're set to. You have to be like perfectly shaved, like all of those things, like laser hair removal. I feel like the level of like what you're living up to is exactly the same, if not worse than it used to be.
Yeah. And I think that if we actually were to say not shave for a week, the guy wouldn't care at all. I don't think any guy has looked at some hair and was like, oh, gross. No. Like,
No.
I don't think that would be an issue. But for some reason, we're kind of taught to believe like be perfectly manicured all the time so that you're the sexiest that you can be.
I've never had a guy call me out for any of that
No.
stuff. I was curious if you have, but
No.
I've never, they don't care.
No. No, I don't think. And I think there's probably preferences. And like, yeah, you're not probably going to go on a first date with full bush. And if you do, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel a little bit better when I'm landscaped.
I just feel
But-
like cleaner.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Like I asked Greg like what his preference was years ago, and he was just like, "I don't care, whatever you want."
Yeah.
Like fully, and he
Yeah.
meant that. Like
Yeah.
I really don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
I feel like that's the majority. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think you're about to have sex with a man and then they see that you're not shaved and they're like, oh no. Like, I don't think that
yeah. And
really-
if they are, like, there's probably something wrong with them.
Yeah.
Honestly, I saw something. Well, I'm on Twitter. Unfortunately, that's just like probably not a great place to be. But there's like all these incels on there basically that will post like a photo. Like for example, you probably heard about this. The Sydney Sweeney drama last month, where a paparazzi got photos of her out and about, like at the pool. Have you heard about this?
No, I don't think so.
I'll show them to you right now, actually, because I think it's important. Because she was getting roasted online.
For her bikini pics?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're just normal pics. They're not
Like-
even bad.
Like fully normal photos of her looking like still gorgeous. Maybe
Yeah.
not perfect like she normally looks.
Well, I don't know if even perfect's the right word.
Yeah.
Just not looking as small as she used to be.
Yeah.
Like not looking as skinny as she was in like Anyone But You or when she hosted SNL or anything.
She basically posted on Instagram hundreds of mean comments. She posted all of their comments in their names. She didn't blur out their names of like, she's disgusting, she's a catfish, she's whatever, like mid, like all this stuff. And then she made a montage of then after that, her like showing her training for this boxing role that she's doing. It's basically like a fuck you, clap
Yeah.
back to the haters, which was iconic. And all of the comments on Twitter, because I was kind of following some of the drama, they were basically just like, okay, the guys that are criticizing this, like, it's clear why you've never been with a woman. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like,
Yeah, we all know the kind of guy that writes those comments from his basement and like
exactly.
sitting on their fat ass.
Like, as if you would ever be in a position to like turn down that when she's actually like fucking gorgeous.
That's so fun. Yeah, like imagine one of those guys like getting a DM from Sydney Sweeney
Yeah.
and them going, no, actually those pictures of you in the bikini, they were kind of mid, so no.
literally.
Like, no.
Like that-
nobody.
You would never. And I just love that she like literally posted all of them and their names to be like,
love
yeah,
that.
fuck you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need your approval.
No.
Like, I'm like, I could
Literally
beat you up.
preparing for a role right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Like,
I could beat the shit out of you. And there's always this trending tweet that's like, it says Sydney Sweetie should be able to murder a man once a day.
yes.
Like, and she really
Every
should.
mean comment she gets, she should be able to
Yeah,
murder him.
she should be able to murder
Yeah.
one man a day. I would sign that. Okay, yeah. So they're at yoga talking about farts. A guy once broke up with me because I missed a bikini wax. Samantha just spitting game to the yoga teacher, who I definitely thought was gay.
Yeah.
He ain't cute.
Yeah. Even if he's not gay, he ain't cute.
He ain't cute. Talking about how he's abstaining, which turns out to be a challenge for Samantha.
Yeah. Yeah. They
She's-
go on a date and he's like, actually, the only thing better than sex is not having sex. Which I can see how you could argue that sex is better when it's not what's it called?
When you haven't had sex in a while.
No, what's that word that's like instant gratification,
Oh yeah,
I guess.
like when you're delaying.
That's what- yeah, exactly,
gratification. Yeah.
I can see that. And I think that a lot of the times like relationships can be ruined by just getting into it too quickly or moving too fast.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's funny. Greg and I always talk about like, and I talked about this with Bethany too. Like, she's like, sex is often like just a little bit better when you're hungover.
Yeah.
and
Because you don't have any endorphins.
yeah, and maybe
So-
that's it. Like Greg and I were discussing this the other day, and we were like, I think it's just because you like start so much lower. Like you're just,
Exactly.
So like
You
getting
don't
to
have
that-
anything to give you pleasure or happiness
yeah, except for this.
except for this and like drinking again or like drugs.
Exactly.
So
And it's just like something about when you climax or whatever and you're hungover, you're like, oh, this is the best
Finally.
anyone could ever feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt so terrible 5 minutes ago.
Exactly. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I don't really get the point that he's doing of just like never
Yeah.
having sex ever. But you know, that's
That's the
his,
Siddhartha thing, you know?
that's his path.
Yeah.
And then afraid to tell Charlotte.
Dinner with Charlotte.
Dinner with Charlotte. Okay. That's what it was. Oh yeah. So she's afraid to tell Charlotte about her fart.
Yeah.
Is what it says.
Which makes sense. I wouldn't
Yeah.
tell Charlotte.
I wouldn't
Charlotte
tell
would judge the shit out of me.
Charlotte definitely would.
Yeah, I couldn't take that. I couldn't take the Charlotte judginess, I don't think.
Yeah. And then we realized that and then Charlotte says something also that I thought was very evolved of her, where she said there's way too much emphasis put on sex in a relationship. Like,
Yeah.
which I think is like, I do kind of agree. Like sometimes it's like we said, it's that simple. Like if someone
Yeah.
doesn't want to that night, don't read into it. Like
Yeah.
it's not, that's also not your whole relationship. Like
Yeah.
so much of a relationship is not that. It's kind of funny. I was talking to Dad about this weirdly. You know, I don't even really know, like not deeply, but
Interesting.
I think I was talking about someone I know in their relationship, and I said like, well, intimacy has never been their problem. Like it's just arguing with one another or whatever. And Dad goes like, you know, at the risk of sounding weird, the older I get, like the less important that part of it is.
Yeah.
Like, and it's very simple.
What
and
would
it
you
makes
rather
sense.
have? Like a good sex life and like not a good emotional relationship, or the opposite? And
Yeah.
even like good sex life, that's just saying maybe you don't have sex every single day, or you might have dry spells. Like I would give that for like a great, healthy, like communicative and like emotionally healthy, you know,
Yeah.
relationship.
Like not reading into it.
Yeah.
And not exactly. And then we figure out that Carrie used to go out with Charlotte's boo.
Yes. So that's kind of interesting. I think it's interesting because Charlotte and Carrie usually date completely different men. And this time, like, which I think this is one of those things where they just kind of threw that in for really
Kind of
no
random.
reason.
Yeah. I almost wish they would have been like, I had a friend who dated him.
Yeah.
And he was obsessed with sex. And that's why, like, it kind of made me feel weird that it was Carrie.
And you don't think that like Charlotte would have said his name and like where he's from and like
That's what I
before
was-
she met him, and they wouldn't have discussed that. I don't know. It just seemed kind of like odd and random.
I agree. It's a part of this episode that doesn't necessarily add
Need
up.
to be there, yeah.
In this scene, I think this is my best dressed is Charlotte in this scene. She's got
I don't
this like
remember what she's
really like this cool choker and
okay.
this like dress that she's wearing. I like her outfit. This is my
Cool.
best dress.
Charlotte and a choker. I like
Charlotte
it.
in a choker. And then for some reason that turns her on. Like that he used to be a sex maniac.
Yeah, I think that I think Charlotte has this like inner kind of, she wants to be wanted a lot of the time. I think that's kind of her complex.
Yeah. I think it said tucked his libido away for her comfort level. Like she was like happy that he tucked his libido away for her comfort level because they had like been waiting and she was like, oh, I'm just going to give it all to him.
Like he
tonight.
respects me. Yeah.
Exactly. And then they get home. She's got the candles lit and she's ready to go. And then he makes out with her and then he just like
Rolls over.
hilarious. Wild thing to do.
Like, what?
Oh, yeah. If that happened to me, I'd be like, oh, what?
I'd be scared.
Yeah. He just said like, I'm just not that sexual.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'd be out. Like,
Yeah.
that you can't have a sexless relationship. It's one thing if like he's not that sexual, but yeah, it reveals that he's on Prozac,
Yes.
which I've heard is like definitely affects
Very
your
true.
libido.
Yeah.
Like I know people who
Yeah.
you have to like combat it with other things.
Mhm.
And then the other things have their own side effects. So it is kind of something people go through.
Yeah. On top of being depressed.
On top of being depressed, so like sex or depression.
Yeah.
I think most people will probably pick
No
not
sex.
being depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Then we were back to Carrie, and she's watching her neighbors bang.
Mr. and Mrs. Get It On.
Get it on. You know, have you ever been a peeping Tom?
Have I ever been a peeping Tom?
Have you ever peeped on anyone?
No, I've never been a peeping Tom. I can say with every fiber in my being. Have I seen a couple having sex in their apartment next to me? Yes, absolutely.
Yes?
Yeah. We literally saw a couple having sex on the beach one time.
Oh, this is true. Should we tell the story?
Oh, I just assumed you would tell this. That's the first thing that came to my
I didn't
head
even think about that.
when I heard this.
So we were on vacation in the lovely San Diego, staying directly on the boardwalk, the beach. And there was this foursome, two couples were on the beach.
It was a
And-
foursome.
Well, they weren't all having sex, but
It was a couple.
it was two couples.
Oh, I don't even remember
The
that.
fight was with two men and two women.
I thought they just brought their friends after.
No,
I
there
thought it was one couple.
That's why it was so weird because the other couple was like close to them, I thought. I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong because the fight was with two couples.
Yeah, I just remember seeing, I could be wrong. I just remember seeing one couple on the beach.
Anyway, so we're upstairs in our living room of this Airbnb house and we see, oh my God, these people are having sex out on the beach.
Mhm.
Like it's very clear this girl is on top of this guy, cowgirl style, with a blanket over them and she is grinding like they're
Mhm.
fucking on the beach,
Mhm.
which is crazy. We're on a family, like a big extended family trip with like
Right next to the boardwalk. There's
yeah,
thousands of people crossing that every day.
like little kids.
Yeah.
And like it's bizarre. So what do? We break out our phones and take a Snapchat of it because it's hilarious.
I think I got the disposable camera and took a couple of pics.
We just think it's so funny. We're not like out on the balcony, but we're like inside, against
Yeah.
the window taking photos because it's crazy.
Yeah.
And they're it's not even like they're in their house like and expect a right to privacy. Like they're fucking in public.
Yeah.
And anyways, they catch a glimpse of us and like realize that they're being photographed and like stop and just like get up and they're pissed and they're like walking away. And we think nothing of it.
Mhm.
We're like, we got our funny Snapchats to send to our friends, like
Yeah.
whatever. And I think I'm probably 19, you're probably 17 at this point,
Yeah.
something like that. And then cut to like 2 hours later, we're out on the beach watching our mom surf
Mm-hmm.
and we just hear some commotion out on the boardwalk. It's just like, what's going on? And then we see there's a fight breaking out because
Full on
a
brawl.
full-on brawl. with our family and these two couples, basically. Our dad is dragging this man by his hair. I saw someone kick stomp someone's nose in. Our dad broke his nose. Our uncle got a black eye.
Our other uncle Chunk broke his foot,
Kicking
kicking someone in the face.
Yeah.
I think they won. Cole ran down our brother because I was yelling at someone and they yelled at me back, and Cole immediately got knocked out into a bush. God bless his heart. Our grandpa was a part of it at one point.
Yeah, a woman was trying to beat up our grandpa, and that
Not
was
his best moment.
Yeah,
Not his best moment.
and then so we come to figure out later when we're trying to like figure out how this fight all started. There ended up being like a helicopter like above the house circling. There was like a big crowd. Like it was probably like
We
an
have
hour
blocked
of
this out.
fighting. Yeah, like it was crazy. And come to find out, while we were at the beach, the couple comes back and they see our aunt on the patio with her young child. And they're like, "You're the one that was filming us," because they saw a blonde girl, me.
And I said her?
and,
That was her.
but and they thought it was Hannah that was filming them. And Hannah, being the bad bitch that she is, just goes, "Well, maybe I was filming it."
Totally had our backs.
She-
Shout out to Hannah.
She like honestly had no idea, like she
What
had
they were
no
talking
idea
about.
what they were talking about, and she
No.
didn't know that we were.
She's like, yeah,
She's like, and maybe I did.
maybe it was
Yeah.
me. What are you going to do
My
about it?
husband's gonna come down there and beat you up.
Meanwhile, my grandma's up on the balcony and she's like, is that the... No. My grandma's like, get him, Steve. Yelling at our grandpa and her son to like beat him up. And my Aunt Colleen is like, the Thai food's here.
We had like the Thai food delivery person up on the balcony calling 911, and like the way we broke up the fight was like the Thai food is here, and everyone just kind of like
We're like,
quietly.
"Oh,
Everyone was
ready."
like had the shit beat out of them,
Dude.
all because we were peeping toms.
So we were. I
So-
have been. I take back what I said.
We
I
peeped.
have been a peeping Tom.
We peep, and guess what? It doesn't pay to be a peeping tom.
No, I regret it. And do I regret it? No, it was a great story.
Yeah. As far as seeing people having sex in their house, I've never seen someone like through a window, but I've never
Yeah.
really lived in that urban of an area. Like I
Yeah.
guess in Chicago, you probably saw it.
There's
right?
so many just windows and people all around. Yeah, like it's kind of hard not to. And I'm sure they've seen me. And
I have seen someone watching like porn on their TV through their window.
interesting.
which
That
is-
seems a little bit more intimate.
I mean, watching porn on the TV is crazy.
Crazy.
Like,
That's
That's
crazy.
crazy. And like if you're gonna like do it with like the blinds up, people can like that's very clear what it is. Like,
I feel like you kind of want people to. That's part of it.
oh, for
Yeah.
sure. For sure. That's definitely part of it.
Crazy.
I had my coworker, she was I was like, "Oh, are you going to re-sign your lease?" And she's like, "I don't think so, man." I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "There is a couple that lives below me that has performatively loud sex." She's like, to the point of like, it's all the time. Like, I don't even understand.
That was my neighbor last year. I think I told you
Really?
about that. My neighbors who were like smoking cigarettes by the pack.
Would they
every
have
hour.
sex too?
Oh my God. It was horrible.
Oh God.
It was every night. And it was like at the same, it was like at 11:30 every night.
Oh God.
And it was just loud and performative. It was like
Yeah.
they're trying to like, and I like, can hear them. And the worst part about that place was our balconies were connected. The
Mhm.
only thing that was like a little bit of a wall that was a partition in between. So like I would be out on my balcony trying to get away from the loud sex noises. They'd come out to smoke a cigarette and I just like am looking at them.
Oh,
on their
God.
balcony, and I'm
Like,
just
I
like-
know what you just did.
Hey guys.
That's awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was saying they walk around with all of their windows, like their blinds open naked, she's like all day. And she's like at night when you're like, she's like, so you could see them perfectly.
What
from
about
the
it was her
parking lot.
downstairs neighbor?
Yeah. But she when she's getting out of her car to like go inside. She
Oh,
could,
oh,
like,
okay,
see
okay,
right
okay.
into their
Yeah.
house. Like and then she complained, and then the landlord said like, oh, we've had multiple complaints about that.
Wow.
Like lots of people complaining.
They're probably into that.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I think these people outside of her window were definitely into it.
Yeah.
They like an audience.
For sure. Samantha's in her healing era.
Oh yeah. Samantha and the yogi, weird vibe. Just
Yeah. She's in her yoga era. I love it.
And she goes like, "You're hard." It's so bizarre.
You're still hard. It'll go down. I
It'll
can go down.
Classic Samantha. Then we get Carrie and Big.
Carrie's being insane.
Carrie's being insane. This is the most toxic moment of the show, I think.
Why is she so cringe? So I had Brad watch this episode with me, and even when that's happening, he's like, I would be so uncomfortable. I wouldn't know what to do. He's like,
Really?
He's like, are you on her side or on his side? I was like, on his side.
I'm on his side.
Absolutely. That's crazy behavior.
It's crazy.
If I'm wasted, maybe I don't even know. I'm just like, I'm having fun and stuff. But if she's like perfectly sober and doing this.
I feel like that's like something you learn very quickly as a girl. Like, don't get in between him and whatever he's watching. Like, if he's watching
she's
the
like
game,
tackling him while he's watching this game. And it's not like he invited her over. And he could have said no to her saying, can I come over? He could have been like, no, I'm busy.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, come over. Even though he has his whole night, he just looks like he got some wings. He's drinking beer and he's watching his game.
Yeah.
And he's still like, no, come over because he wants to hang out with her and because he likes her.
She's acting
and
crazy.
She's ruining that.
Yeah, she's
like, she should take him being like, yeah, come over when he has this whole night plan as like, he really likes her.
Yeah.
That's what I would think. I'd
if
be
a
like,
guy wants to
wow.
watch a fight with you and he wins,
Yeah.
like that's nice.
Exactly. And I would sit there and I would like enjoy that with him. Like,
Yeah.
if that went on all night, maybe I might be like, dude, come on.
Yeah. You know,
But she was there for 5 minutes.
She could have gotten it in after the fight
After
was
the
over,
fight.
easily.
Yeah.
And then she freaks out on him because he finally is just
He's
she
like,
can't take a
fuck
hint.
off,
Yeah, he's
basically.
just like, stop.
Yeah.
Like, it's clear that I'm not wanting to do that right now.
Yes.
And then she goes, so you're not perfect.
Oh my God, it's so bad. It's like textbook what you're not supposed to do. It's like how to lose a guy in 10 days
is.
behavior.
Yeah, it totally is.
She's being Kate Hudson right now.
Maybe I'm not perfect and I should leave. And then she waited for him outside to like chase her. I was like, girl, like
Get out of there.
stop. And
Now that's what I would be more mortified of.
Yeah.
Rather than the fart. Like it would have been that.
Yeah. Like that's mortifying. And
Yeah.
then getting home and like waiting for him to call.
Oh.
Like, no, like you were in the wrong, girl. Like you were absolutely in the wrong.
And then I put, at least she comes to grips with the way that she acts around Big. When she's talking to Miranda, when Miranda comes over, she's like, yeah, like I'm
myself.
I'm not myself around him. Like I act this certain way and I put on these certain outfits and I try to be this thing that I'm not. And she's like, but what if I just am the way that I am? Will he like me still? And like, I like that she kind of comes to terms with like, she does kind of act a different way around him. And
she puts it on.
She's doing this. She's pushing him away, you know, and she like comes to terms with that when she's talking to Miranda, which I think she always kind of like Miranda kind of without even saying anything always is like her like therapist.
Yeah. And Miranda's always like so thoughtful with her too. She's just like, I think you should show him this Carrie because this Carrie's pretty great. Like it was very sweet. And I think at the beginning of any relationship, like you know pretty quickly if you're compatible and comfortable around the other person. And when you're not, but you still want to make it work, like you just start to act like a person that you're not, you know? I can relate to that feeling of like just really being like nervous and not yourself.
I can't. I'm perfect all the time.
Is that the case?
Always myself with everyone that I date.
Except when you're holding in farts.
Yeah, exactly.
Miranda getting catcalled. Bizarre. Like, I don't know. The whole like Miranda getting catcalled part of it, I'm like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
A lot of Blockbuster shout outs in this episode.
So many blockbusters.
So much Blockbuster.
What didn't age well?
Yeah. She goes, I need to get laid. He goes,
You got what I need. You got what I want.
yeah. And then she's like, well, I need to get laid. How about that?
All talk, huh?
Yeah. It was bizarre. I was like, what is this? What are we getting here?
Yeah.
Where
Charlotte's trying to get
yes.
Prozac guy hard.
And he says something like it's like pulling taffy.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's chafing.
That picture of pulling taffy is terrible.
It's just, and poor Charlotte. She's always in these
I
situations.
know. She always gets herself in
And
these
he's just
situations.
like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
And he says, like, would you rather be with like, a sex maniac or a guy who's like even keeled who just might not be into
Yeah.
sex? And she just goes, nope.
Yeah,
She speaks up for herself.
she does.
We love that.
Charlotte's becoming like one of my favorite characters. I think Samantha's always been that number one for me. Charlotte's kind of getting in there. Like I like that she has this side to her where she's very polite, but then she has this other side where she does, like you just said, like she does really speak her mind.
She's very self-assured and she's very direct.
Yeah.
Unlike a lot of the other women, honestly. And I love that about her. My favorite line was with Miranda and Carrie when Miranda comes over to help her paint. And Carrie's just like in her feelings. And she goes, I shouldn't have farted. I think it's over.
It's over.
And then Miranda just loses it. And she says, enough with the fart. It's not the fucking fart.
Yeah.
Which is so good.
Because Miranda's so mad right now.
She's so over it.
Yeah.
Like she's like, I'm not being laid often enough for me to like take your shit.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
you're with a normal good guy or
Yeah.
whatever. Like stop like making a big deal of this. Miranda. Oh, we missed the part where the girls all watch the sex through the window and eat gummy bears.
Yeah. Just like the throwaway scene. I don't know. Like half of these scenes are just like, okay.
Yeah,
fine.
there wasn't much to
No
say
depth.
other than like it was just kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like I liked it. I think the only time the four of them were together in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm always happy when we get
When
them
they're
together.
the four of them together.
And then we end Samantha's storyline when she's at yoga and she just decides she's had enough. And then she just looks around and goes, psst, wanna fuck?
Yeah.
To like
Wanna
every guy
fuck?
around her. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then finally, wanna fuck?
Yeah.
And then he just goes, okay.
Yeah.
And then she gets up and leaves. Iconic,
Yeah.
she's doing it.
Back to the Samantha we know and love.
Yeah. She was never going to last long. So it seems that at least one of the girls is out of their dry spell for now.
What about when Big shows up to Carrie's apartment?
Yes. And then we get to Carrie and Big
Yeah.
at the very end. Big shows up. We don't really see very often like Big taking the high road and being the one to like show up. And
Well, that was the
make
first time he
amends.
was at her apartment.
I know, which is saying something because I feel like
Yeah.
it's been like a year at this point. They've been together for a while.
Mm-hmm.
She's got her zit cream on and her Bowie t-shirt and her sweatpants, painting. And he basically says, like, I like it the way it is, which is very sweet. I do think there is like a deep intimacy of like having a guy in your home, like in this like place that you've created and like you want like their approval on it somehow too.
But it's also the first time where she let her guard down, wasn't all dressed up and trying to look hot. She was in a t-shirt and painting, and like that's when he finally wanted like to have sex.
That's
because
what it
she was
was.
just
Just
herself
herself.
and not trying to be anything else.
I find that I have the least sex when I look the best and the most sex when I look
When
the
you're
worst.
just lounging on the couch in
When you're
sweatpants.
just like feral.
Yeah.
And yeah. That's like it really has nothing to do with how you
Yeah.
look. Has to do with how you look, but like whether you're done up or not. Like it doesn't. They don't care.
No.
I thought it was zit cream on her face, but you're right. I think it was paint on her
yeah,
face.
painting.
That makes more sense. And then he sees the neighbors humping.
Yeah, maybe that's what did it for him.
Yeah. He says, we can do better than
I
that.
put my last thing was like, I think everyone goes through dry spells and it's totally normal, except maybe for you and Greg. That's what I put.
Yeah, we've never gone more than a week. But,
yeah.
a week is
I feel like for what, 6 years? 7?
8 years.
Oh my God. That's crazy. 8 years, that's a very short amount of time to have a dry spell. Like, I think a lot of couples who are at the 8-year mark might be like, yeah, we once went like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, as far
I
as dry
think-
spells go.
And I think Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, that's like such an important part of intimacy and like
Yeah, I think
feeling
it's very important
connected.
to you and Greg too, which that might change in other relationships.
Exactly. I think we both like just like expressing that form of love. I guess
Gay.
we like to hook up. I
Gay.
don't know. And I'm
What are you,
sure,
married?
yeah, I'm sure that like I know that that changes for couples like after they have kids and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So do it while you can, while you're
Yeah,
young and hot.
exactly. Well, I still had so many people tell me like, "Oh, that's gonna go away." And I'm
I feel like everyone says that.
and I'm like, "Well, it hasn't." So,
So
like,
just stop
maybe
reminding me about the
mind-
future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mind your business. Like that's why I'm saving those like, more adventurous things like vibrators or whatever.
Or like
for
ice cream swapping.
ice cream swapping. For later on in
later,
life.
yeah.
Yeah, when we really need to
Yeah.
spice things up. We don't need to spice it. We're good.
Salsa.
Yeah. Salsa dip.
Really spice it up.
Hot. Okay, and that's the episode. Not
Nothing to write home about.
nothing to write home about. Kind of a throwaway episode. What are you gonna do?
Welcome to the Oscars.
Oh, it's the Emmys.
Welcome.
Welcome.
You've made it.
Who won?
Carrie.
Carrie.
Yeah, because Big showed up to her apartment, wasn't breaking up with her for the way that she acted, which I think any other guy might have been like, yeah,
That was crazy.
That's it.
Mhm.
And they had sex finally, and I think that she got past all the crazy, insane behavior that she was doing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think Carrie won.
Learned self-acceptance.
Yeah,
Yeah. I had Charlotte,
Charlotte's good. Yeah,
but it's a typical Charlotte episode when she
Mhm.
just kind of realizes her worth.
Yeah.
and leaves the guy.
typical.
Who lost the episode? Miranda.
Yeah.
Miranda's.
Miranda, she was just kind of like left to the side of this episode.
She's just like down bad. Like it
Yeah.
was like, yeah, you're not in a drought for any other reason than you're just like miserable. Like you're just kind of like
She's
shitty to be around.
depressed.
Yeah.
He needs to be on Prozac.
Yeah,
actually.
exactly.
Full circle.
Full circle. Best outfit.
I think maybe just because she looks so beautiful, but Sam at yoga.
Yeah.
Like I love her whole vibe here. Her
Mhm.
yoga outfit's so cute.
She's like standing out.
She
Everyone
looks
else is in
great.
white.
Yeah.
And she's just like this like beautiful flower. Mine is Charlotte,
Charlotte,
at
yeah.
the dinner. I thought she looked gorgeous. Worst outfit. I didn't have a worst.
No. I think there was no really standout worst. I don't think.
I don't think so either. I
Yeah.
even think Miranda like looked cute in
I
her
loved her overalls.
Yeah,
I
thought
loved
she looked
it.
cute in them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really think there was
Mhm.
nothing that I was like, that's egregious.
Mhm.
Even like Carrie, yeah, her David Bowie shirt. I'm like, you
Mhm.
look adorable.
Yeah.
Best quote. You got one?
Wanna fuck in the yoga.
Just it's really about mouthing.
Yeah.
Mine was enough about the fart. It's not the fucking fart.
Fart. Miranda. Miranda does have the best quotes.
She
Miranda and
does.
Samantha.
She's got the best lines in no matter what. Oh, another one of her lines that I liked. If I make it to 4 months, I'm humping one of you.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. I can't imagine saying that to one of my friends.
That's so funny.
What age the best?
Whoopee cushions.
I think whoopee cushions. That's a great one.
Bring them back.
I wrote peeping toms. No one got hurt.
No one got hurt.
No
A
one
lot of people got
A
hurt.
lot of
So many people
so
got
many
hurt.
people got hurt when we were
Yeah.
peeping toms, but this was like, oh yeah, no one's getting hurt here. In some cases, it's bringing people together. What age the worst? Catcalling is what I said.
Bring back catcalling. I want to be catcalled every now and again.
Listen,
Now it's so frowned upon.
I'm allowed to love getting catcalled.
Can I be catcalled? Someone catcall me.
I got catcalled. It was kind of funny years ago. I still remember it because I thought it was so funny. I was walking by this homeless person at the gas station to go inside to get something, and he goes, "Your hair is amazing." I was like, "Thank you."
I would immediately call my significant other and be like, so when were you going to tell me that my hair was amazing?
Yeah.
Because someone else just did.
People are telling me.
So
People
when
are
were you?
talking about
Were you
it.
going to call me?
Yeah.
Or are you going to text me?
So people are. There's words out.
Words out.
There's kind of a buzz around town about my hair. Yeah. So catcalling.
Oh, what age the worst? Shaming Sydney Sweeney. If you want to shame Sydney Sweeney, you got to go through me.
You got to go through me.
You got to go through us. So you got some shit to say? Comment down below.
Justice.
But also don't say anything.
don't say anything mean. We
About
really
it.
don't get
I
that
don't
many
want it.
comments, so I would take it to heart.
It would be the only thing we saw.
Only comment. Who was the most toxic? Easy. Carrie.
God.
Like, hands down, she's crazy and
Crazy bitch.
crazy little girl.
I know.
Was it feminist? I said yes.
No, I say no.
No.
Definitely not.
Why no?
I probably because of what Samantha was saying about men don't want women that are human. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. But Big does.
But like
We learned that he
ironically
does.
non-feminist.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Hilarious.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it could go either
Trolling
way.
femmes.
Triggering.
Our favorite pastime.
Yeah. Rating out of 10.
Probably a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I would give
Maybe even a 4.
I'm doing a 4.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm doing a 4.
Yeah.
And that's that. Sorry,
Uh-huh.
guys. They can't all be 10s. Like
Happy
last week.
Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Happy dry January.
Sponsor us.
I knew. Yeah, we're sponsored. Bye.
Oh my God.
We're leaving that in.
Oh my God.
That's staying in,
And then the
everybody.
eye. That's what she said.